and welcome back to another check-in feedback presentation. Thank you all for checking in, and I appreciate you all being here watching this video. So point number one, the power of prepping your chicken in advance. Very specific fucking chicken. Obviously it doesn't need to be just chicken, it can be any source of protein, beef, fish, whatever it might be. Protein is the hardest macro to hit, so it's pretty important that you take the steps to prepare that in advance, because if you prepare your chicken in advance, then you can quite easily get, say, like a packet of microwave rice, a packet of microwave veg. If you're on the go, it's quite easy to stick that maybe in a microwave, but you can't really do it with chicken. You need to actually take the time to prepare the chicken or beef or fish, whatever it might be. So when you take the steps and prepare that in advance, so I'm going to tell you what I do. All right, on a Sunday I prepare my meals for Monday to Thursday, and basically I buy like marinated packs of chicken. So I shop Nasda, and they typically have like a Cajun or tikka, and there's like another few different kinds, but they're already marinated, so I don't need to go through the hassle of like rubbing my chicken and all this sauce and leaving it overnight and all that, because it's already done for me. So I buy a couple of packets of them, and then same with the beef, there's some like marinated beef things. If not the marinated ones, then I might just buy beef mince myself, some seasoning on it. So again, I fucking love Cajun seasoning, so I'll always stick that on. But just doing that, taking say like an hour and a half on a Sunday to sit down and just prepare the meats alone, that's going to solve your protein problem. If you're struggling to get the protein in and you're busy through the week, you can't be arsed cooking, or for whatever reason you're not preparing that meal, if you've already cooked it, it's just a matter of taking it out of the fridge, sticking it in the microwave, heating it up, and then once that's heated up, like you've ticked that box, you're getting the protein in that meal. And I find it's a lot easier to get protein in your dinner than it is to say get it with your lunch or if any other meal on the go, at least personally. I mean, for breakfast, you all know I have eggs, so I'll stick with my eggs and might have a bit of salmon, might have some, say, edamame beans with that. But then when I'm out the house, it's like I don't have the privilege to actually prepare my meal, so I would typically in the gym have like a wee Greek yogurt, some porridge and wee other bits and bobs. But there's not as much protein in that as what there is my breakfast and my dinner, because I'm preparing both of the meals at home, so I'm a lot more in control. And the same might apply to you, where you're more in control when you're at home and preparing these meals. So if you're struggling to get your protein in breakfast, your lunch, meal 4, supper, whatever you want to call it, then it's definitely a good idea to make up for that missing protein in your other meals and your dinner. So if your meal target, which is in your nutrition plan in the Google Sheet, if that isn't on target, then you can make up for that by having more protein with your dinner. So say you only have, say, 20-30 grams breakfast, same with lunch, or maybe even less for lunch, and your target's say 150, you can have 100 grams of that protein in your dinner. Now, for the whole satiating effect and for your digestion, I would suggest spacing it out, but that's not always feasible. So I would rather you got it all in one meal than not at all. So if you really need to go tonto with your protein in your dinner just to hit your target, do it. And to help you actually get that in, it's not going to feel pleasant, alright? You're going to be putting it back and it's probably going to be like, oh fuck. But at the same time, why are you doing this? You're doing this to develop your body. You need to be hitting that protein target so you can recover from your training. And if the goal is fat loss, then it's going to help keep you satiated, so that you're not snacking later on at night as well. So there is power in preparing that chicken or meat in advance. And as I said, what I pretty much do is I prepare the meat, I prepare the veg. So I just buy frozen veg and I'll basically steam it in a big pot, and then I pack the veg and the meat in a tub, and then I just get like a microwave packet of rice. You could even do like wee pita breads or wraps or something along the lines of that. Get some sauce as well. And it's very simple. Like, I'm not the best cook. I eat the same stuff all the time, pretty much every day, and I don't get bored of it. I enjoy it, and I think that's the important thing. Obviously, you need to enjoy it. But if you can get into the routine of preparing that on a Sunday for the week, you give yourself that power because you free up time. That hour and a half you spent, you only need to do the dishes once. You don't need to worry about, oh fuck, what am I going to cook tonight? You've already decided, you've already made it. There's no hassle, you just need to bring it and you're sorted. So make sure if you are struggling to get your protein in, and if you're struggling to stick to your calories, right, do it in advance then. So actually go to the shop, buy the meats, buy the frozen veg, the packets. I just like that because I'm lazy. And buy the packets of rice. Like, again, just get your staple, your go-to thing for your nutrition. And once you've got that, you can build on that, you can start switching it up. But until you have that structure and consistency, then you're going to struggle with your nutrition. So remember, we are doing this nutrition stuff to help you develop your body, to help you with your performance in the gym, to help you reduce your fat, and to help you optimise your energy and not go hungry. So if there's any way we're going to start with dinner. I mean, start with breakfast, but this question was obviously specific to dinners. So that's what I do. Hope that helps. Point number 2, how to breathe and brace to save your back. Now again, it's obviously specific, but I'm just trying to make this valuable to everybody. So anterior pelvic tilt is a posture deviation. So deviation being, it's not optimal posture, if you like. Very common, it's not uncommon. It's a big lifestyle thing, and especially in females. But this posture deviation makes it hard to brace. So bracing, you need to brace your abs in every exercise you do. Now bracing just means increasing intra-abdominal pressure. All that means is breathing deep, tensing. So try it now, like see when you breathe deep into your belly and then you tense. That should increase your intra-abdominal pressure. So the issue comes, I think I might mention this before, when the diaphragm, this thin sheet muscle that actually is responsible for you inhaling, and your pelvic floor, so they're both quite similar where they're thin sheets, when they are misaligned by the pelvis being slightly tucked under, so it's like not just a complete cylinder, it's like slightly off like that, that makes it difficult to brace during your exercises. And as I just said, it's important to brace on every resistance exercise that you're doing, just so that you're keeping everything tight and locked in place. So even if you're doing like a bicep curl or a chest press, you still want to be bracing the abs, you still want to be planting the feet. You want to create stability, and to create stability in the abs, it's about bracing, it's about breathing deep, tensing. So we can realign that. We can realign your posture so that you can brace effectively through mobility, flexibility and resistance training exercises. The longer you spend being sedentary, so sitting down, whether it's driving on periods, whether it's sitting down studying, whether it's just sitting watching TV, whatever it might be, just not moving, not being on your feet, the more you're going to need to actually mobilise, stretch and do some resistance exercises to help you with that posture. Because if you don't, then it's that repeated over time, it's that lifestyle, it's that habit of just being seated that really starts to bring the problem over time, which can of course lead to the lower back pain, which is the symptom of what's actually happening. So what I do for posture, so I sit down a lot. I'm sitting here talking about this, and honestly, like, I'll be sitting constantly with a coffee and typing away. I'll come, like today I've came home and I've sat down again, but what I tend to do is, as soon as I've been sitting down for a long period, so I can obviously do it now, I would just stand up and honestly see your hips. I would just tuck my hips under and squeeze my glutes as hard as I can. Like, honestly, as if, like, I don't know, somebody's trying to do it like a pen up your arse. You need to squeeze, like, oh fuck, don't let that in. And I don't know why I said that, but that you get to just squeeze as hard as you can, tuck the pelvis under, and see just doing that for say 15 seconds. Every time you've been sitting down for any longer than say half an hour, it's going to help you avoid these weaknesses, because when you're sitting down, your glutes are inactive. So by you standing up and squeezing hard, it's going to help you actually take kind of pressure off the back, and it's going to help you start using the glutes a bit more. Even when you're walking, you can actually use the glutes a bit more as you're walking upstairs, pushing a bit more through the heel, and actually feeling your foot kind of pull back. So even something as simple as walking a bit more mindfully can help you start engaging the glutes more. The reason I talk so much about the glutes is because, again, if you're sat down, that's the muscles that are inactive, and if they're not being used, and if you're not proactively trying to engage them, then it's going to likely put pressure into the lower back, just to kind of make up for it. So, as soon as you stand up, squeeze your glutes as hard as you can for about 15 seconds. See if you even come down into a lunge position. So some of you have the couch stretch in your program, which could be even better, because that's stretching the quads and the hip flexors. But simply just come down into a lunge, or even just doing a few split squats. Again, that is going to help you loosen off the hips. So 1, you've engaged the inactive muscle, and 2, you've stretched off the tighter muscle. That combined, if you could get into the habit of just doing something as simple as that can help you with your posture. Again, repeated over time. You're not going to do this one day and it's like, oh boom, good posture, no more lower back pain. But if you do that every day, it's going to work out. Over time, that compounds. So the glutes become more active, the hips loosen up a bit more. And then as well, like, it's not just in the lower body, because the lower body affects the upper and the upper affects the lower, because it's all connected. So another thing you could do is just stretch off the hamstrings, because again, the hamstrings could be responsible for pulling the hips back. So just even touching the toes, keeping the legs straight, holding that for about 15 seconds for a few breaths, stretching off the chest, so that corner wall stretch, or even just try to really open up the chest as wide as you can like that. These things are going to help because you're stretching off the tighter muscles. Again, if you're sat down like this, tight, loosen off, squeeze the back. It's typically about squeezing the posterior, so the muscles in the back, and then stretching off the anterior, so the muscles in the front. As a general rule, doing that every time you've been sat down for long periods of time can help. But that's small recommendations. The better thing to do would be just to break up periods of being sedentary. So for every hour you sit and move for 10 minutes at least, if possible. So point number 3, controlling the controllables and letting go of everything else. Now, wee bit of context, this person has met, no wait, is this the right one? It is, it's the same person I'm talking about 100%. So we only have control of 3 things. 3 things, nothing else. So if you try and control or expect to control something outside of these 3 things, then you're going to get frustrated. You're going to suffer, you're going to struggle. So we only have control of our perceptions, our decisions, and our actions. It might be worth taking note of that, because any goal you set, any expectation you have, if it's not a perception that you control, a decision that you can make, an action that you can take, it's not feasible, it's not realistic. So what I would love for you to do, for all of you to do, for even myself, this is something that I try and work on. We want to balance our perceptions, as in whatever event happens that we perceive, we're able to see both sides in balance. Because if you don't have that balance, that's where emotional polarities come, that's where your judgment is clouded, and that's where you get frustrated, distracted, you start hesitating, overwhelmed. There's so many things that can happen just by having an imbalanced perception. So if you perceive something to be more bad than good, if you see more stress than bliss, use that, I don't know. If you don't see the stress and the blessing, you have an imbalanced perception, because there is always 2 sides to every event until you unwisely judge it. And the reason I can say this with certainty is because I've done a personal development course that talks a lot about balancing the perceptions, and trust me when I say it works. And it's just about asking yourself the right questions. So it's about recognising the cause, the imbalanced perception itself, and then bringing that back into balance with the right question. So the simple one is, like, whatever it is causing you stress, what is the hidden blessing? Stack your answers, write down until it's no longer a bad event. Hope that helps. So that's perceptions. Decisions, we want to be making congruent decisions, as in congruent decisions with what's most meaningful to you. Decisions that complement who you want to be, where you want to go, what you'd love to be doing, have in the next 3 years, refer back to the objective action plan. If your decisions aren't in alignment with your values, who you'd love to be doing, have, your 12-week goal, your priority actions, which we'll go into in a second, if they're not congruent with that, if they're not helping with that end in mind, then again, you're not going to feel as inspired, you're not going to feel as enthusiastic to work on your goals, you're not going to feel as confident in yourself, you're not going to feel as happy and fulfilled. So making congruent decisions, this is the second powerful thing that you can really do. I'll talk about success in a wee second as well. This is a wee kind of aha moment I feel like I had the other day. And number 3, align your actions. So again, this is why clarifying what's most meaningful to you is so important, because when you have clarity on what's most meaningful to you, through what you'd love to be doing have in 3 years, through your goals, through your values, if you align your daily actions and priorities with that, or conversely, you can see how whatever is happening is aligning with that, then again, you're going to feel more fulfilled, you're going to feel more happy, you're going to feel more confident, inspired to work on your goals, and whatever happens, you can turn it into opportunity instead of an obstacle. So again, perceptions, decisions and actions, that's the 3 things you can control. Anything outside of that, it's not in your control. So even if someone else is causing you stress, or for example, you hurt your leg, well, you've already hurt your leg. That's an action that you already done. It's a decision you already make, whatever led up to that and caused that. Now, you can control your perceptions of that event. Now, if you see that event as a limitation to your progress and it's not serving you, it's not helping you, it's all stress, it's all bad, it's all negative, it's all challenge, balance. Look at that, it's all that negative, it's like, it's out of balance. So if you really, truly do perceive that as a negative, you're going to have all these negative symptoms, you're not going to feel good mentally, you're going to feel fucked up, basically. So the solution to that is really finding the blessings in that, sitting down, what are the benefits of this, how is this cause of stress serving me? It's so simple, and as I speak it, that it's just a matter of actually sitting down, notepad and pen, how specifically is whatever the event is causing stress serving me? And if you can really hold yourself accountable to that, I promise that it will help you balance out the perception, and then you won't feel as frustrated, you won't feel as stressed, you won't feel as if you've let yourself down. You'll just see it as an opportunity to improve. So that's pretty much that point. I've got a few notes on that, but let's see. So might be worth writing down this affirmation. I've got 101 affirmations. For you who don't know what an affirmation is, an affirmation is just a word of power, a statement to make firm in your mind. That's what affirmation means, to make firm one's mind. I've got about 300 affirmations written down on a document. I don't read them all the time, but see, when you rehearse them, they really do stick. So this is one that's maybe worth sticking. I think it's actually from Buddha, honestly. It's kind of paraphrased here. So, expecting to achieve the unachievable or avoid the unavoidable is a source of all human suffering. So it would be wise to obviously manage our expectations with what is instead of what isn't. Like if you're trying to avoid something that's already happened, you're going to suffer. If you're trying to achieve something that's not even realistic, you're going to suffer. So manage your expectations, love things the way they are. Let's see. Another wee point, so if you can't make the gym due to an injury, due to life events happening, then do what you can. So use the saying, improvise, adapt, overcome. There's wisdom in that. I don't know where that's going. That's from like SS or something. I think it's some sort of military saying anyway. Shit's going to go wrong. It's not going to always go to plan. You'll have your expectations. They're not always going to get met because life happens. Life gets in the way. You have responsibilities. You're not an athlete. You're not a bodybuilder. There's things always going to happen. So if you expect this to be smooth sailing and no waves, then again, you're going to feel frustrated because it's unrealistic. If you have an unrealistic expectation, you're self-depreciating yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure. Pie in the sky. It's like That's all going to be well flying by up. It's inevitably going to come down. You can't throw a boulder up and you can't throw a boulder up in the air and expect it not to come back down. Obviously it's going to come back down, it's going to smash you in the nut, so expect it. When you set unrealistic expectations, you're going to get hurt, you're going to suffer, you're going to struggle. So ride the wave of what is, improvise, adapt, overcome. If you're struggling to stick to a plan, well, improvise what's the next best thing that you can do, adapt to the situation, and you will overcome it. It's again just a matter of implementing it. It's a small mindset tweak that if you could just love things the way they are, see the opportunity and the challenge, and expect challenges, because this isn't going to be the first challenge I've. Again, this person, it's only been in his first 8 weeks, roughly. There's going to be loads of challenges to come. So don't try and get rid of the challenges, because peak growth occurs at the border of support and challenge. So you need both. If you were to get rid of all the challenge and just have support, then you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't get better, you wouldn't develop yourself, you wouldn't be developing your body and your self-confidence. So it's all part of the process. And if you want the conditions to be perfect before you take action, then you will be waiting a very long time. You will not be successful in whatever it is you do if you continue to wait for the right moment. The right moment was yesterday. Get it done. Stop waiting until tomorrow. Just act now with what you've got, with the way things are, because if you can do it now when times aren't perfect, then just think when times get better, you're going to be able to do it. You're more resilient, you're more adaptable, you're more focused, you know, you prove to yourself how important it is. If the time isn't right, if you're struggling, if there's things going on, but you still find a way to get your training done, your nutrition done, your steps in, your journaling, your check-ins, then it's proven to yourself that this is important to you. This is the type of person you are. What type of person are you? The type of person that waits, or you're the type of person that just gets it done because it needs to be done? Are you disciplined or not? So there'll never not be challenges. Challenges are opportunities to grow. Might be worth writing that one down. Challenges are opportunities. So let's see. What would one more question on that point actually. What would the best version of you do in that same scenario? So if you do have an injury, what would the best version of you do? And if you can put yourself in who you are in the next 3 years, because that is who you are, that's who you're becoming. There's two parts of you, there's who you've been and who you're becoming. So who you're becoming, put yourself in the shoes of you in 3 years. What's the attitude, beliefs and character that your self in 3 years has? And if you can really visualise and try and put yourself in there, and you can get clear on that with your values. If you look at where your values are, you know where you're heading, so you can project that into 3 years. And when you think 3 years ahead to how your attitudes, your beliefs, your character is, and then make more decisions congruent with that, align your actions with that, change your perceptions, balance your perceptions and align with that, then you can change things now. And that kind of takes me on to the next point. So question number 4, how much does missing a week or two of training have an adverse effect on your progress? And I'm going to start by saying it doesn't, as long as you get back to it. So I want you to zoom out for a second. I had someone ask me, have you made it work with your online business yet? And immediately I was like, excuse me? Kind of alleyway boy. But I said no, and I knew it wasn't the answer he was expecting. I knew he was expecting for me to pick myself up, I'm smashing it, doing well, making this much and I'm getting there and blah blah blah. But I just said no, and I know that's okay, because what I said is I still have another 10 to 20 years anyway. So how long are you planning doing this shit for? My guess is that you're going to do it for the next 10 years plus. I hope that it's your goal to do this shit for the next 10 years plus. So what the fuck is 2 weeks in comparison to 522 weeks? I had to Google that one, that's 10 years. So it might be worth listening to this one carefully. It's another affirmation. So the magnitude of your space and time horizons will dictate how well you're able to embrace both pain and pleasure, support and challenge, ups and downs, perceived successes, perceived failures, acceptances and rejections in pursuit of your goal. So stop thinking small, day to day, week to week, and start trying to cultivate a longer term mindset, because if you intend on sticking with this stuff for a long time, then missing a week or two of your training, it doesn't matter. If you know for certain that you're getting back to it, you're not going to quit. You've proven that yourself. You've decided for yourself. Now, don't carry the weight of an unmade decision. Decide. You can literally decide today that, right, I'm going to be doing this for the next 3, 5, 10 years. I don't want to stop being healthy. Again, it comes back to, like, what kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? And again, when you have clarity on that, it's like, are you going to commit to that? Are you just saying that, or do you mean it? If you mean it, then again, zoom out. Missing a couple of weeks is nothing if you zoom out to the bigger picture. So don't get so caught up in one wee mistake, one wee challenge, because again, you're going to fail as much as you succeed. You're going to be accepted as much as you're rejected. You're going to have as much ups as you do downs. The higher the highs, the lower the lows. The more you feel up and buzzing about your training, like, well, they're going to have days where you're going to feel just as low. And if you expect anything different, you're going to suffer. So, stop thinking week to week. Start thinking bigger. Try and cultivate that mindset. I think it's learned that the more in alignment you are with your values, with your vision, with who you love to be doing, have your goals, what's most meaningful to you, the more you can perceive you have that alignment, then the more easier you can embrace both sides, the support and the challenge. At least that's what I have experienced. So those 2 weeks don't seem so bad when you look at them from the perspective of 10 years, do they? Besides that, a deload week every 6 to 12 weeks can actually be beneficial for progress, because remember, you are stimulating growth in the gym. It's when you rest and recover, that's where the progress is actually made. So I could have just answered to that wee short one, but I thought it went on a bit of a ramble. So if you miss a couple of weeks of training, a week or two, it's not bad as long as you get back on it, and sometimes a deload can actually be effective, useful. Now, number 5, so struggling to improve your nutrition, change your mind first. So do you know what to do but you're still not doing it? So do you have your calorie target, your protein, foods list, recommendations, you know what needs to change for your breakfast, lunch and dinner, but you're still not doing it? Well, notepad and pen it, because we're going to do a wee bit of journaling here. I'm going to ask a few questions, and I've done this once, I'll do it again. This is a very powerful process that I went through time and time again, and I'll continue to do it all the time pretty much, because again, when you change your perception before your decision and your action, then you can make change a whole lot easier. So the solution here, if you're not making the changes you know you need to make to achieve your goal, well, you should really have clarity on what's most meaningful to you, what you'd love to be doing, have your goal, your priorities. If you've got all that done, then the next thing is to stack the benefits of doing a specific action. So back to the preparing your meals, preparing your chicken on the Sunday. What are the benefits of preparing my chicken on the Sunday? Write down at least 20, 30, go more if you really want to guarantee that you're going to do it. If you could write down 100 benefits of you preparing your chicken on a Sunday, I guarantee that you're going to do it. There's no doubt, but there is doubt in, are you going to answer that question that many times? Do the opposite, which is also more powerful, Clarify the cost of inaction. Again, using the chicken as an example, you can apply this to any specific action. So what are the drawbacks of me not preparing my chicken on the Sunday. Again, stack the benefits, 20, 30. If you really want to change it, go for 100, if it really means that much to you. If you want that to mean more to you, then link it to your values. Again, take what's most meaningful to you as you put in the 12-week objective action plan, and then link that specific action, 1 wee specific action, just preparing the chicken, to that. And the more links you make, the more likely you are to do it, because you can see how it's fulfilling that. And if you can't see that, then you're going to struggle to do it because you haven't aligned your perceptions with that. So again, this is something I done with going out at the weekends. Like, there was a point during the lockdown where that was my biggest limitation, going out, hanging around with the wrong people, drinking, taking drugs, staying out all weekend. It was holding me back. So I sat down, fucking pen, paper, and I just wrote and I kept writing, and I didn't just do it once. Like, I came back to it for about a week, couple of weeks, and that big limitation that was probably taking years out of my life and really held me back for getting to where I want to be. And I'm obviously where I am now, recording this video, talking to you, coaching you, helping you with your challenges, because I've done this myself. Because I was able to sit down and hold myself accountable, because I realised the power of doing it. I believed in the power of doing it, and I held myself accountable to answering these questions, not just the 20, 30 times, I'm talking like 100 plus. I was able to change my behaviour a lot easier because I clarified the benefits, I clarified the cost of inaction, and I linked it to what was most meaningful to me. So when you can see that you not preparing your chicken at the weekend is going to lead to you not being confident and happy, which of course you can't see right away. Who the fuck sees this and this right away? You don't. And that's why that process is so important, because you're clarifying the link. And the more links you can see, the more links you make in your mind, and the more you value that action, the more likely you are to take action. So the solution's there. You need to hold yourself accountable to it. If anybody has any questions about stuff or want me to go a bit deeper on it, let me know, because I love it. You know I love it. So just ask. So number 6, how to manage your time to fit everything in. Now, again, I'm going to always go on back to values and what's most meaningful to you. Prioritise actions that fulfil what's most meaningful to you, because nobody is waking up in the morning and dedicating their life to improving yours. Not even me. I'm dedicated to my life, and me improving my life is fulfilled by me helping you. So even that, it's still selfish. Like, and if that's me as a coach with my job to help you, like, just think of everybody else. Like, everybody is waking up. Not everybody's waking up dedicated to themselves, but nobody else is dedicated and thinking, I'm going to better their life. My day is just, I'm just going to focus on making their life fucking amazing. Like, that's your responsibility, and nobody else is going to do it. So this is why it's important to prioritise what is most important to you, because big goals and objectives, visions of who you'd love to be, do and have, your values, they're fulfilled through specific actions that you take day to day. So it's like another wee affirmation you might want to write down. Think big, connect to the small, and focus on the now. Thinking big, getting clear on the vision, where you're going. Connecting to the small, goals, objectives, actions, non-negotiables, priorities. Taking that and then fucking notepad and pen, write it down. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday today, Friday tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. What am I going to do? And schedule the priorities in, write it down. See, when you write it down, it brings a bit of order to disorder. There's disorder. See, if I don't write shit down, my head's all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing. My day hasn't started until I wrote down what I'm doing, until I planned it out. Because if you don't fill, again, another wee affirmation we want to write down, if you don't fill your day with the highest priority challenges that inspire you, then it will fill up with lower value distractions that don't. So you have a decision to make. Are you going to try and avoid challenges, or are you going to choose the challenges that are inspiring to you, that are most meaningful to you, that are going to wake you up, make you feel most confident? and ultimately help you fulfill what is most meaningful to you. So there's a few things to look up if prioritising is a bit of a struggle for you. So the Eisenhower matrix, quite a simple wee exercise to do. It's 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, important. Wait. 4 quadrant, you're better off looking it up because I'm not going to be able to explain it so well, but it's basically 4 quadrants. You have a column that is important, not important, urgent, not urgent. You might have done this before, you might have heard it. In the first box, you write in urgent and important, the specific tasks and actions that need to be done. Second one, urgent but not important. Third one, not important but urgent. And then the fourth one, not important or urgent. If you can write down your tasks, your actions that you have every day, every week, and categorise them based on the quadrants, then you can get clear on what needs to happen, when it needs to happen. So obviously, first things first, important and urgent, get them done, and then you can move on to number 2, then you can move on to number 3, but number 4, delete, get rid of them, you don't need them. Once you've got that Eisenhower matrix, if you've wrote down like a full week of what needs to get done, and you've categorised it into the boxes, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, that bad boy. What do I mean by that? This is from Eat That Frog. So A, most important, B, second most important, C, third most important. And then once you have, just letter them all first, everything needs to get done. Then put a number beside them. So every A, you have A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, how many A's you've got. Do the same with B, do the same with C. Once you've done that, focus on A1, move to A2, and just do first things first. Another reaffirmation, first things first, second things never. Stick to highest priorities. And the third B part for prioritising, this one question, you might want to write it down, or you might want to go listen to the book. The One Thing by Gary Keller. Listen to the audiobook's quite a good one. But this one question is basically what it's about. What is the one thing I could do such that by doing it will make everything else easier or unnecessary? If you could start your day asking that question, you can get clear on your priority. If you get clear on your priority, you know what needs to happen to fulfill what is most meaningful to you. You have work, you might have kids, you have your training, you have steps to get in, you have to prepare meals, not just for you but for other people, studying. There's so much that you might have going on that, again, I'm not saying don't do them, I'm not saying be unrealistic as if I fuck gamers do this. No, I'm still getting the things you need to get done, but start to really prioritise the things that matter to you first, because you're going to be a better person at the end of that. You're going to work and putting high priority in work and not getting the thing that matters most to you done because you've been to work. I mean, you're responsible for that. It's like nobody else is going to do that. If you're not going to do it, nobody else will. So again, prioritising your time, using your time effectively. It's a skill that you can develop, anybody can develop, and it's a skill I really struggled to develop in the early stages. By the time I'm 38, right, I better speed this up. So if you don't fill your day with high priority challenges that inspire you, then fill it with low value distractions that don't. Write that down, remember it. Lastly, so number 7, this isn't even a question, this is 5 unpopular beliefs that help me be my best. So number 1, stress is good. It's essential for you to develop yourself. If there's no stress, there's no pressure. If there's no pressure, there's no growth. Think of the whole, like, diamonds are made under pressure saying. It's true. Like, carbon, coal is carbon, diamonds are carbon. The difference is the pressure. Diamonds are created under pressure. When you put pressure on yourself, you grow. I mean, you're putting pressure in the right direction. You're growing into who you would love to be. And the benefits of that are fucking unreal. Like, again, I can only really say for myself, from doing the personal development and helping myself by putting myself first and what matters to me first most and prioritising that, everybody else is benefited. It's insane. When you put yourself first, you'd be surprised at the impact that could have on everybody else. Number 2, starting tomorrow will kill your dreams. So the more conditions that you need to take action, the less resilient you're going to be. So you can build resilience by starting before you're ready. So whatever the action is, whatever you know needs to happen to fulfill your goal, what's most meaningful to you, then if you're serious about it, do it before you're ready. Oh, I'll start Monday, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. That attitude, it's destructive, because that you're just always waiting for the right conditions. If you always wait for the right conditions, you don't have the opportunity to build resiliency. You're not adaptable. And if it really does matter to you, if you're able to value like that, if you're able to ask the question, how is me doing this now going to help me fulfill what's most meaningful to you, and you can again stack your answers, you're unstoppable. You can do it. Number 3, if you balance your perceptions first, you can more easily align your decisions and your actions. So back to one of the other points I said there. Perceptions first. Change your mind first, your decisions and actions will follow. If you try and do it vice versa, you're going to struggle, you're going to suffer. Your mind is powerful, and I think it all really comes down to this whole balancing your perceptions. So seeing both sides, even in like having to track your calories, having to go to the gym, getting the steps in, like still there's two sides to that. Don't kid yourself on it's all one side. Like it's hard, it's tough, it's challenging, but also is not doing it. What challenge would you rather have? Would you rather have the challenge of the pain of doing the thing that you know you need to do to achieve the outcome that you know you really want, or the pain of regret of not doing the thing that matters most to you? It's a decision. There's only two choices. You either do or you don't. You either will or you won't. Don't complicate it. Number 4, your beliefs shape your identity, and your identity shapes your future. This is something I've been working on recently. Like, we all have experiences, and we all have stories about these experiences that can actually become chains. Like, they can almost hold you back. If you have a false belief that's not in alignment with who you would love to be, that could be a big limitation. And if this belief is stopping you from committing fully to your non-negotiable actions, which again are aligned with what's most meaningful to you, then that can really hold you back. So getting clear on what the false beliefs that you might have from past experiences, if you're able to identify that and then try and understand and work through that and come up with a new, more empowering belief, that can be very powerful. Number 5, belief is fucking powerful. So again, this is something that's been kind of on my mind recently. Like, I believe in myself, and because I believe in myself, like, I know that what I'm setting out to do is possible, it is doable. And when you have people around you that believe in you, it just 10x's that self-belief. I love watching documentaries. I do feel quite inspired because I'm able to kind of relate and see like my life through the lens of someone else's experiences. So there's been a few I've watched. I watched Conor McGregor's the other day, and it's like he succeeded 10 years before he actually became known, because he believed that he was a champion. He believed that he was already the best, not out of arrogance, but because that's what he was committed to. That was what was most meaningful to him. His security for his family, his sense of self, everything that he done in life was revolved around that. So he fucking believed in himself, and because he really had that genuine belief that this is possible and he can do this, it became a reality. And the same applies to us. If you genuinely believe in that outcome and that goal that you've set for yourself, and if it is aligned, if you've took your values and it's aligned, then it's not unrealistic, it's possible. So believe in yourself. That's what it comes down to, believe in yourself. And I forgot to mention one wee kind of note on success. This is something that I literally thought about, I think it was yesterday. Comes back to perceptions, decisions and actions. So even though I've not achieved a lot of the outcomes that I've set for myself, like financial targets, service targets, and the lifestyle, the freedom that I ideally want, it doesn't mean that I'm not successful. And what I've just tried to define for myself is what success actually means. And success to me means having alignment with my perceptions, my decisions, my actions, with what's most meaningful to me. So if they are aligned or congruent or balanced, then you're doing all that you can to realise and manifest that reality. And that to me is succeeding before you've got to the tip of the iceberg, before you've actually got the reward, which is nothing in comparison to the journey of who you're becoming. So I feel quite inspired to share the last few points, so I hope they have been valuable. Apologies for the longer video, but again, I would love a bit of feedback. If you could comment below, either on Facebook or on the Loom video, what your thoughts were, what you gained from this video. That really is inspiring for me to hear as well, knowing that I've not just spoke shite for the last 46 minutes. But thank you all for watching. If you came this far, I really do appreciate you taking the time to listen. And I hope you all have a great weekend. If there's any questions, as always, just give me a shout and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Take it easy.